every Saturday, 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And thank you for joining again. We will wait for a while for audience to join us. But meanwhile, maybe because it's a live event, I'll set the context of this particular live session. Uh, we are going to discuss mainly about three things. One is Google has dropped this really crazy service called as Antigravity. Now that has catched not just my eyes, but Elon Musk, Sam Altman, anybody who's into the AI world, they're after it, and they can't keep calm at this moment. So that is, I'm really excited to talk about it, the anti-gravity. Gemini Pro, the Nano Banana Pro model, it's something they, along with anti-gravity, they have dropped, and I'm going to talk about that as well, like how interesting results Nano Banana Pro is giving us. That is also going to be very interesting to know. And apart from that, we will be discussing two other important things. One is I want to guide the students, the fresher who are into the industry. They want to, like, they're aspiring engineers. They want to give interviews, but they don't know how to give interviews. They show for the interview, but they, whenever question is being asked, they cannot answer it properly. What are the top three common mistakes they are doing? We're going to talk about that. And along with that, I think before even going to interview, one key important thing is how are you building your resume? Because your resume, your LinkedIn is a gateway to enter into the job market. And if you're not building it right, you will never get an opportunity or the right opportunity. So, how to build a good resume so that you get an opportunity, your profile gets shortlisted, and you land up in the interview at least. That is something we're gonna talk about. So, maybe okay. Let's wait. How many audiences do we have? Let's see first. Honestly, this is my second AMA. I'm not expecting like big chunk of audience, but yeah, as days and days goes by, we will have more and more audience coming up. All right, let's wait for some more time. Maybe 2 3 minutes more, and then we will start the discussions. I hope everybody's having a great weekend, by the way, and weekends are for fun, and this is how I have fun. I love creating content. I am loving LinkedIn, by the way, nowadays. Like somehow, Link- I wake up and start LinkedIn rather than Instagram. So that's one thing which attracts me nowadays. LinkedIn. Give me some time. All right, another minute and then we'll start. Okay, I can see some audiences have joined us. Thank you for joining, guys. It's going to be a very fun conversation, very informative conversation. I'm aiming to. All right. Maybe we'll start, and meanwhile, our other guests can join us. The attendees can join us. So I was talking about anti-gravity first. What's so interesting and intriguing about anti-gravity, Google anti-gravity? So in tech space, in IT world, when we do coding, 10 years back, we used to have Visual Studio Code, VS Code, all these two editors where we used to go, create, they write the code, debug the code, test the code. We used to do all of that, but manually. Then come in Cursor one day. Cursor, Copilot, Windsurf, all these tools that came up. We started using it, and the new way of writing code was through, like, give it a prompt in English saying that I want to build so and so feature, create all these manual test cases, add the loggers on so and so line, and hit the enter, and it creates the code for you. And that's how it was. Cursor, Copilot, or Windsurf used to work. But now I feel like even that is outdated, because your cursor, your windsurf, just it creates the code. I mean, it writes the code, tests the code, debugs the code. That's it. What if I want to check if my code that I've implemented, the application that I've built, is right or wrong, unless I verify it? If I want to test that particular code in my browser, like if I want to go to browser and start checking like whether my code is right or wrong, um, whether the UI is built right or wrong. If I want to go and click on a button and see, as a user, I want to see that whether my application is working as expected. How do I check it? There comes anti-gravity. So anti-gravity doesn't just write code, debugs code, test code, but it can also verify whether your build the code is according to your product requirement. You can pass the PID and check it. Secondly, it can open your application in a browser, and in browser it can do testing by its own. How does that do that? There's a feature called as agent manager where you create one agent for writing code, one for testing code, one for verifying code, and one for testing on a browser. On browser also, if you have a lot of different requirement like cross browser compatibility, like you want to check if that agent that you have built is sorry, the application that you have built is good and is going to work in Chrome, it is working in Safari, it is working in some other browser, then that cross browser compatibility also you can check through agent manager. Also, if you build the front end application which should work as expected in your mobile, laptop, iPad, and different resolution of devices, the desktop, then that mobile responsiveness can also be tested. It is that advanced. It is mind blowing how things have panned out in a short span of time. And once Google dropped it, and trust me, I'm not the only one who's impressed here, because you can see worldwide, Elon Musk and Sam Altman, I think they are the giant personality in the tech space. And it's very rare that somebody who's a competitor, they try to appreciate somebody else's work. Like if I have my one shop and there's another shop opening up beside me, then um, if they're doing great, it is very rare that some people do really appreciate it. This time that happened. Google anti-gravity dropped, and Elon Musk tweeted, Sam Altman tweeted and said that it is one of the best models so far. That means there is something which makes this particular service far different from the rest of the services that we have seen so far. So it is really interesting. I would encourage all of you to start exploring it. And as part of that, what I'm doing now is in the next AMA session, I'm just keeping that whole session to explore anti-gravity and cursor. So do not miss that. It would be like I'm very excited to do that practically. In this live session, maybe we are talking about theories and how Google dropped it, and few other things related to that, like how can we ensure that um Google anti-gravity has good features compared to cursor. So theoretical discussions we are having it here, but whether that is true or not, we're gonna see it in the next AMA live by practically implementing that. We will bring something like we'll have some product requirement, rough requirement, and we'll build that on by using anti-gravity. So it would be very interesting. The next AMA live. Same time, the same Saturday, 1 p.m. IST. Um, that's on anti-gravity note. Apart from like anti-gravity, Google also surprised all of us with another interesting thing. And guess what? It is Nano Banana Pro. How is it different, and what differences is it making in image creation? Basically, the image generation, how it used to happen earlier versus now, is very different. Um, so, Nano Banana Pro, for me, let me give you one example that how I used it. So I went on Nano Banana Pro. I asked that, okay, this is my requirement, and because I do, there's a Saturday and Sunday. I do content creation. When I get some time, like if I have some office work, I don't do it, but I do generally do the content creation where my one of the requirement is for every video on YouTube, I need a thumbnail, and thumbnail is a the graphic image which has a host or guest. Like generally for podcast format, you have to create a thumbnail image where on the left you are putting host, on the right you are putting guest, and in between there's a title and there's a proper description. I opened Nano Banana Pro. I asked it that, hey Nano Banana, I want to create a YouTube video thumbnail where I'm inviting so and so guest. Please create a thumbnail that has host on the left, guest on the right. The photos, I passed the photos as well, and I said that this is the title, this is the theme, that it is going to be a tech conversation, mainly about architecture, DevOps, and all these areas. Please create a thumbnail. It took around a minute and a half, and it gave me really, really articulate thumbnail. I was so surprised. Like, how can, how can, because why I was surprised, I'll tell you. I have used plenty of image generation tool before. I've used Midjourney, and there are some other online tools and AI tools which I've used. Maybe I cannot take every tool's name here, but those tools did not give me a very articulate image. How the placement of an object, like the host and guest, the placement of it, the titles placement, positioning, coloring, the creativity, all of that goes sometimes right, sometimes left. It is not, all those tools didn't give me the very articulate image of what I needed and what I have in my mind. But Nano Banana Pro gave me exact image of, like, exactly how I wanted it. And that was really interesting to me, because uh, no other tool have given me that accuracy and precision before. And that's the reason I'm saying that use Nano Banana Pro for any of your image creation going forward. And let me know, like, once you have good feedback in the upcoming one-on-one, sorry, in upcoming AMA sessions, we will keep on discussing why I do bring one-on-one every day, like everywhere, guys. So that's just manager in me who brings one-on-one. Sorry for that. So in upcoming AMAs, we will keep on discussing about, and we will actually in the next session itself we are discussing anti-gravity practically. Maybe I'll just showcase you how Nano Banana Pro image generation also looks like. One of my recent LinkedIn posts is around that. Maybe you can check it out, how it created that image very interestingly. All right, how many audiences do we have? Okay, we don't have like a lot of audiences who have joined today, but since this is a live session and it's going to be recorded, anybody in future also they can go back and see this session. So I'm happy to continue and record this. Um, all right. Okay, maybe we can get into third segment of this AMA. which is and feel free to drop your questions if you have any, guys. So on Nano Banana Pro or on Antigravity, if you have any questions, drop it. I'm happy to take those questions as well, because the otherwise this is going to be just a video uh, that I'll record and release. The reason for having it live session is we're gonna discuss things in real time, and I learn from you, you learn from me. That's how it goes. Okay, great. Hi, Subhan. Okay, maybe let's go into the third segment, which is interview tips in IT and corporate. Um, so why I'm picking this topic is on day-to-day basis, because being an engineering manager, my work is not just to build the code, review the code, and deploy it, but also to build the team, as in hire a good candidate. And while hiring, I one of the key requirement is I present on almost all the interview panels, and I realized one common mistake that candidates are oftenly doing. So if you're going for an interview as a fresher, and what are the top mistakes that you're doing? Maybe I'll just try to highlight those. Um, one one thing that this is true for the interview. What is one thing or one good starting point for any interview is introduction. Like as a panel, I go ahead and give my introduction, and I also expect the candidate also. What happens is often, and it is fine to have, or it's fine to make mistakes, but there are some mistakes which are not that expected, because those are pretty common standard way of communication. One of how is that when you do the as a candidate, what am I as a panel? If I'm taking an interview, you are giving an interview. I asked you, okay, for example, okay, Suman, can you just introduce about self, like give me the self introduction. Now Subhan goes like, I am myself Subhan. I'm 25-year-old. I've learned, or I did my be in computer science and engineering from Mumbai University. From last so and so years, I've been into this industry. Then I went into the project, and that's where it goes wrong. Nobody asked you about the project. So one key important thing in content presentation, any content presentation, because in interview also you are presenting yourself. You're giving some content which should be felt, like your presence should be felt. Your personality should be expressed through your introduction. What is that mistake that often people are doing is they go into projects. They talk about, okay, then I went into, I joined this company, I got that project. That project was into Node.js, I was in Node.js, React.js. But, I was not feeling comfortable, so I moved to Python.js. In Python, I built three APIs, and one fine day there was a production error which went wrong, and then I was moved again back to Node.js project. Nobody wants to know or say just introduction. Obviously, we want to know if you want to make it powerful, mention about project in line if you want to, and stop. Not go into debugging phase. That's the most, I would not say annoying thing, but in general, because I've given 100 plus interviews just in this year, and realize that this is a very common mistake. What is the ideal introduction look like? right? Let's get into that. One introduction is you start with yourself, like myself, so and so. I have done my education from university. I passed out in this year. From last 6 years, I've been working in the IT industry. My exposure, I started my career as a front end developer. I worked for 2 years. Then I went into back end development for 2 years. And then, because I was very much interested in AI space, I joined a company where I had a really exciting opportunity to XYZ technologies. I built so, and then after that, I thought that why not to move on and join a better organization where I get exposure to better prospect, better monetary, and better profile. Three key important things you can highlight: profile, prospect, monetary. And with that intention, I'm trying to switch my job at this moment, and I'm really looking forward to join your company. This is on a professional front. Personally, I like these are my hobbies. I love playing cricket, or I love creating content on Instagram or LinkedIn. That's my go-to weekends. I love that, and it's something which I can take opportunity future career as well. So brief about life, but don't go into like I live with my parents. I have two kids. One is about to get married. Nobody wants to know that. So uh, keep it brief, personal and professional front both. Stop it there. There's no more. There's um, there shouldn't be counter question just on intro. Move on to the further after that. I think we see some of the good questions here. Subhan has asked, have you used Nano Banana for any of the recent content creation? Yes. Yeah. As I said, I've used Nano Banana Pro for YouTube thumbnail creation. So the videos that I do create, I upload on YouTube, and to upload it on YouTube, you need thumbnail. So for thumbnail, I created some prompt for Nano Banana Pro, entered it, and it gave me a really good thumbnail. So that is one of the use cases that I've come across with Nano Banana Pro, and I would highly suggest to explore that to all of you. I hope that answers your question. Um, Vikas has some more questions. How's the experience with Apple? Does it appear that Apple is falling behind other brands such as Samsung? Okay, guys, I am an iPhone user from last 2 or 3 months, and I'm not a fan of Apple Intelligence at all. I've never opened it, although I'm working at the AI space. I work around models, applications, GenAI tools. But Apple Intelligence, I haven't focused that much. I didn't see any buzz happening around that as well. So I'm not sure I'll be able to comment on Apple Intelligence, but uh, comparing Apple's intelligence with other brands like Samsung, that might be some other video or that might be some other thing. But fine. But having said that, Apple is a really big brand, and whenever they build something, they build it with a lot of precautions, considering all the competitors in their mind. So I'm sure Apple is pretty good. But having said that, what does Samsung have to offer? That also will try to look into. I'll come back to you because that particular question. Good question, by the way. Ajay has asked one question: ChatGPT or Gemini Pro, which one is better for content creation? All right, there are specialities for any AI application that we do use. If you're using ChatGPT, it is good for logical thinking, scientific problem, critical thinking. ChatGPT is really good at that. Whereas Gemini Pro, if you go, it is more on a management perspective, legal compliance reviews, business artifact creation. All those are pretty good on Gemini Pro. Having said that, both the work can be both the models, but there are some specialities that you can go with. Give an example. If have finance related queries, you go with Perplexity. Perplexity has really good exposure to finance data. That's the reason it's really good is finances. If you go with ChatGPT, or let's talk about Claude first. If you go with Claude, if you want to build documents, product requirement designs, any kind of documentation, Claude is a good model for that. ChatGPT, if you have any scientific problem, mathematical problem, logic, ChatGPT is Gemini Pro, if you want to build integrations, if you want to build the management kind of stuff, banking kind of stuff, then Gemini Pro is a go-to model. So every model has their own exclusive services to offer. They do brand themselves as a generic, but generally it is not a generic. Every tool has their own exclusive services. I hope that answers your question, Ajay. All right, any more questions before we move? पानी खत्म हो गया मेरा. All right. All right. I think we have one more question. How do you think can we automate entire content creation process by combining it? Oh, that's a wonderful question, Subhan. How do we automate the whole content creation process? So, what happens in content creation mainly? You do the ideation first that I want to build something like this, and then you create the content, like you write the content, and then you edit the content, like you make that content that you have written camera friendly. Like how do you put that content in front of camera while you're delivering it to the camera? Then you once the content is shot and you have a video, then you edit it. Once the content is edited, then you go for once the content is edited, you go for releasing it. So you need a good title, good description, then good hashtags you need, and you need to tag several people if they are in as a collaboration into that. So considering all of that, we need a proper AI automated workflow to create. There's a the whole content creation end to end can't be automated because at this point of time there's no editing tool which gives us spot on video editing, right? So any AI tool that you bring up, you have certain video and you are imagining certain things in your mind to edit it, so that can't be possible. That is not possible, sorry. So but content creation, there are some tools like n10. There are some technologies like MCP that you can make use of, and you can build a step-by-step workflow. That first step is going to be writing the content, second step is going to be editing the content, and you prompt that particular AI agent saying that think like a podcaster, think like a content creator. So you define a role, you're giving a context saying that I am a YouTube content creator, I do create so and so content. This is my genre like history, geopolitics, tech, GenAI, engineering, leadership, career growth. This is the context of the content that I do create. And the action is create the 90 minutes reel, sorry, 90-second reel. Create 60 minutes episode. That is the action. So role, context, action. Three things you define for the prompt for your AI agent, and step by step guide it, and it should create it by its own. So next time when you have certain ideas, that just drop the idea, and all the manual work, repetitive work should be done by your AI agent. And the tool is N8N. There are plenty of other tools, but you can try with this one first. Once you create it, once you have a content, now you can also tell them that create a Google document, the document or PDF file, and send it on and so email. You can do that email integration as well very easily, so that once it is ready, it will email you the document. So that is one thing. And second mention, I mentioned about MCP. MCP is a very good tool which connects your multiple application with like a lot of different applications at one place. It is like a Type C charger basically. So earlier, 10 years back, when we wanted to connect or charge your laptop, charge your TV, and charge your mobile, 10 years back we had different charger for different devices. But now we have one common Type C charger that can fit in all the electronic devices. And MCP just like that. So you build an MCP modular MCP application, and that should be integrated with your Slack, your Gmail, your Teams, your different services. If there's any other agent that you want to talk to, you can easily talk by using MCP technology. So there are multiple AI stuff that are available as one, and I think you can explore it all. It's very interesting, right? Very interesting how things have progressed in last couple of years, and all this technology that we're discussing today, they're not like 5 years old or 10 years old. They were just not existing few years back, and now they are everywhere. So yeah, that's one for content creation, and for releasing also the same minute workflow can be used. That you want to integrate your YouTube with that, you can do it, and you can release every Wednesday and Saturdays maybe. You can do that, and with that, maybe we can discuss the last part. And there's one question, I'll take the question later. First we'll discuss about resume tips. So I wanted to bring this topic of resume tips is because be it a fresher or even for the experienced people, they don't know how to build the resume, most of them. And this is one common thing which I've realized, and would like to help you with whatever little knowledge that I have about how to build the resume. First rule about how to build resume is create it single page, right? Nobody has time to go through 3 page novel. So keep it one page. In one page, you should mention about yourself, your profile summary, what are you applying for, your skills, your location, and your experiences, right? So on all of this can fit into one single page. That is possible. Even if you have 10 or 20 years of experience, trust me, it is possible to fit it into one single page. If you want a reference, you can go to my LinkedIn profile and download my resume just for the reference. I'm not saying I have the best resume, but it is definitely a resume to look into, like how to build a one page resume. um, yeah, so that is one thing about resume building. Second is, when you mention your experiences, you mention about projects and project description. Generally we tend to write a lot of stuff so that uh, we know that we have worked on a lot of stuff. Let's say I've worked on one project, I know how hard I have worked and contributed a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean you can write plethora and big paragraphs under that experience. Okay, because interviewers generally do not have that much of time where they can go through each paragraphs. So keep four bullet pointers in one experience. So let's say I have worked in XYZ company, I'll mention my role and four bullet pointers. One bullet pointer will say what project I worked upon and what value I brought in. Second might be what are the top technologies that were associated with that. Third would be the challenges and outcomes. And fourth one was how did that help grow the business for your company, like monthly recurring revenue or annual recurring revenue, MRR and ARR. You can mention that. And this is not applicable to everybody. This is mainly for ARR and MRR for somebody who has worked on a big project. But in general, try to keep your experiences in maximum four pointers, and the lines has to be really short. Your lines cannot be spanned across multiple line breaks. Yeah, so make sure that is one important thing that you mention. Third, which is very less talked about and underestimated, is photograph. Any social media platform, any resume, any accounts that you deal with on regular basis, always try to punch your photograph onto that. That builds a connect, that builds a presence. If I see one resume that has a good professional headshot, that builds certain image in my mind. Although this is very controversial opinion that you can't judge somebody by just looking at them. There might be a very professional looking personality but don't know how to work, right? But having said that, or like that opinion is absolutely fine, but that doesn't mean that should stop us from projecting our personality through photograph. Yeah, we should definitely try to punch that and make your presence feel in your resume. That is third thing. Fourth is keywords. Keywords are really important because 90% of the companies, and if I'm not wrong, 99% of the companies across the world, they do have ATS integrated into their system, their hiring panel, their hiring workflow has ATS. ATS is application tracking system. That means all your resumes that you are applying on LinkedIn, Naukri, Indeed, Monster, or any platform, there are high chances that that is visiting not human but ATS first. So that application has a role and responsibility to shortlist your resume, that can select you and that can reject you as well. So if that JD has certain keywords and that keyword those keywords are not present in your resume, it will simply reject you just there. Even if you're a deserving candidate, you won't be passed ahead. So adding keywords like if you have build the application, mention it like I have built Node.js application which were deployed into dev pre-prod staging environment and live to the customer. So live is one keyword, deploy is one keyword. That means you are building something, deploying something, making it live, right? And why this is important, because in JDs sometimes you see that your role and responsibility is to build the application, test the application, deploy the application, and ensure it is live. JDs are being mentioned. So your ATS checks one side JD, one side resume, and tries to map the keywords. If those keywords are matching, your profile is shortlisted. So try to add keywords like, and those keywords should be very authentic, abided by your personality and your work that you have done in your past. All right, and that's it for the resume tips. Maybe we can have a practical session where I can take you through the resume review and explanation. If you want to do your resume review, I have TopMate link in my LinkedIn profile. Click on that link. You can block a session with me, and we can like happy to jump on a call and review your resume as well. I'm more than happy to do that on weekends, but no weekdays, guys. Um, with that, we can take that last question by Vikas. I can see that Brooke came, created the aura, and disappeared like he never existed. And he's talking about DeepSeek. Yeah, I think DeepSeek. Just first of all, very interesting question because, so DeepSeek was released and it created an aura throughout the world. Um, First of all, like it created a news to the level that President of United States went into conference and said that guys, wake up, we need to build some model which can benchmark the deep sea, which can pass over the deep sea. And that is quite an interesting, that month was very interesting. And the good thing about DeepSeek, those who do not know about DeepSeek is just like a ChatGPT, another AI tool where you can go and ask about certain question that you have, and that is highly into analytical thinking, logical reasoning, scientific problems. And DeepSeek came up with chain of thoughts. Chain of thoughts. What is chain of thoughts? Chain of thought is an algorithm which is implemented because agent can evaluate their answer. Let's say you are asking something to the agent. agent came up with some answer. Now agent will see that whether my answer is right or wrong. It will evaluate itself, and if it is wrong, it will start reevaluation. And again in the second round, if it is again wrong, go back again. So that circle of valuation reevaluation keeps on happening. That is what we call a chain of thought, that you are giving thoughts and re-thoughts again and again, and that creates kind of chain. So just to justify the name, that's what we call it a chain of thoughts. So what does DeepSeek think when you ask something to that model? It will show all of that thinking right in front of you. So there's a very good traceability and visibility as well, that before coming up with the answer, what it is thinking, what the model is thinking. And that is DeepSeek. But yeah, I agree. It came up and it created certain aura for a month, and then it disappeared somehow. Why it disappeared? Because the person, I think his name is Alexander Wong or somebody, if I'm not wrong. So he was hired by some other company once DeepSeek was launched. So DeepSeek was launched. Some people are still using it as we speak. But then once it was launched, the guy was poached by some other company, and now he's working for them. So DeepSeek might have some future surprises, but at the same time, the guy who built it is working for somebody else now, with better evaluation, probably $1 billion salary. You can check it out on internet as well. But yeah, very interesting question, and something like this will keep on happening, guys. Every 3 months, 6 months, we will have surprises like this, and don't get surprised even in future if it is there is much better model than DeepSeek that is going to surprise us. So let's stay tuned for that. Okay, any more questions? Let's refresh the page and see if there's any more questions we have. All right, I think the questions are over, and our topics are also over. The topics that I thought about covering today, theoretically, but in upcoming AMA sessions, we will definitely talk about, or less talk about, but more build all this anti-gravity and uh, maybe we'll try to compare between cursor and anti-gravity mainly, and then we'll get into maybe resume tips, but we'll see that in practical thing. So next session is going to be about building something using anti-gravity, building something using Nano Banana Pro, and if time permits, then we'll build the resume as well. Like we'll review the resume and we'll build the resume. I'll take a pause for 10 seconds and see if there's any more questions. And thank you for all these lovely questions, guys. Questions are really great and very thought-provoking questions. I really enjoyed all your questions. Keep on asking these questions. I would like to see more and more of you joining it and exploring it together, the AI world. Okay, amazing. With that, I think we can sum up this live session, guys. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. And as I said, I've set the theme for the next session already. We're gonna explore all these things practically in the next session. And thank you very much for joining again. Thank you for all these questions. Have a great weekend and great rest of the day. Bye bye.